Hello, Laura Joy. So, mm, um, there is a story in the Bible that I really like thinking about. It helps me understand some things. Okay, so it's kind of a large topic that it's hard to think about. Okay, so there's a story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And so I don't really know what their names mean. And I do want to talk about that, but I should shoot that in a different video. Anyway. So the story is I think it was Daniel. He was in the Babylonian city, and the king, I don't think he was called the Pharaoh. So in Egypt it was the Pharaoh, and in Russia it was the Tsar, and in America we say we have a president. That is a different type of person. So one thing that is important to know is that when someone says even just a single word, there is intention behind it. And one thing I am a bit scared of are as the Bible puts it, my adversaries' intentions. That would be every single person I talk to, including this camera. And whoever is going to watch the digitalized, megapixelated rays of light being shown at our eyes. Yeah. Speaking of light, there is a story in the Bible of these 3 young men, and there is fire inside of a furnace, and they were told by the king to bow before the golden statue. And that the golden statue came about from, I think it was Daniel. He interpreted the dream for the king. And he had wise men or mystical people in his congregation that would interpret things for him, and they couldn't do it because they're trying to do it without God. And the only way that we do that without God is through knowledge that we've learned, placing words together that our parents informed us about. And our parents, this one thing Jesus said to the crowd, he said, I think the Bible verse says he gestured to the crowd. And he said, these are my mother and these are my brothers. Like, it was disassociating from the physical side of it, my physical body. He was stepping into the word kingdom, the Babelish kingdom. And that being said, these three men were told to bow before the golden statue, along with the rest of the crowd, the literal crowd that knelt on the literal ground in front of the literal statue facing them, probably, I'm not sure, but this golden statue, and God laid it in their heart to continue standing and not kneeling. Okay. One thing to think about is art and why we make images. And there are people there that have important things to communicate, but I haven't seen this person for a little while. This literal person, not a voice in my head, a literal person. Some of the things I came up with, which is my alpha side, which is not meaning that I am a guy. It means I am a human who has dominion over myself, as well as I realize that I affect things with movement. Okay. That being said, mercy and truth, please. Okay. Because they did not do this, the king decided to put them further into the gold, further into the gold, the wrathful gold, the eating gold that destroys the ground, destroys things, it licks things, it licks the sides of buildings, and consumes it by molecularly changing the structure of it and shriveling it and changing the color. Yes, the color is black, but there is also white on a burnt object that's on the outer layer. And it's a smaller portion, but it's there. Okay. God told these young men to not fear. He says, "Do not fear, for I am with you always, even until the end of the age." And these young men believed that. It's not about being the biggest, bestest, baddest person on the face of the planet. It's not about being the craftiest, most knowledgeable, most able-bodied person in the world. It's saying, I can let go of that side of myself. I am a living sacrifice, and I want to be perfect and acceptable before God, my Father. And that is going through literal painful situations and facing that painful situation where it's real consequences, doing things that I would not otherwise do, that I don't want to do, missing parts of myself. There's a Bible verse that talks about this. Don't give yourself so little that you don't no, it's not give yourself. He is asking God, don't give me so little that I steal. Because he recognizes that's where I'm going. When I started thinking that way, I always try to say, it doesn't have to happen that way. I can ask God not to let that happen, not to let me go there. And so it's very important to me. But God was there with these young men through the fire. You know what causes burning sensations? Like staying in a spot I don't want to, moving my body in a way I don't want to, being bruised, being torn, being cut. It causes burning and stinging. If I don't really know very much about it, what I know about it is it stings. What else do I see around me that stings? Plants with hairs on it. that will stick itself into skin like a fiberglass in roofing and basement insulation. It'll stick yourself into your skin because it's so tiny, it's hard to get out. And some plants have poison in those, which causes very long burning. And it seems like it will never stop. And then constantly the entire world will continue to say, it will never stop. I have said it will never stop, so it's never gonna stop. But truthfully, they don't define that. Why it's so important to me that God exists is because He has mercy and He knows my pain tolerance level. A man does not. He will not. But I want him to. And he can. So my heathenry is I say it will not, and then because I'm not God, I don't decide that. I just know that in my life, the being state of a person is that it doesn't exist, that knowledge does not exist for them or for where they are, their world, their the bubble of knowledge we have about ourselves, the community that we keep ourselves in. It doesn't exist there. And if I'm going to understand my community, I think like them to a certain extent. Everyone's different, but we're supposed to get what each other is saying. We hear someone tell us something and we're supposed to feel an emotion from what they said, because if we don't do that, then we don't reach a solution, or we don't understand the level of hurt they're going through. Sometimes all I need is just someone to be there. For a younger person, all they need is someone to tell them that they are recognized, they matter, and their voice is heard. As a kid, I really wanted for somebody to know what I was thinking when I didn't tell them, because saying it seems everything I said was cut off instantly and invalidated. But trees. Yeah, trees. To keep it alive sometimes, as well as help channel the growth to a better place. I need to cut off the water sprouts at the bottom that are eating the tree. It's itself, but it's eating itself because it's using up that life supply in the wrong place. And those leaves are way too far to the bottom, and stuff on the bottom starts rotting. And then animals and bugs see the bottom branches. Like what I did as a kid is I climbed the trees. I didn't climb any trees that didn't have low-hanging branches. Because, yeah, but they use it as leverage. I really wish that the guys who get online and they watch porn videos all day, like, understand that they aren't their emotions. They're not the fire. It's in them, yes. But who else in your life has fire? And why? And you know, the end goal is not to stay in the fire. No, like, yes, I'm going to go through the fire. I'm going to pretty much literally die, it seems. But the end goal is to have pleasure, to have eternal alphaness or establishment, or God says in the Bible, the saints he appoints as judges over the earth. Like, what the heck? Judges over other lives. Like, no, I don't want that. But he says that's what it is. And he's not saying that to put that person in a role that they don't want. He's saying that because he knows that it will help us have clarity as to why something is happening the way it is. It's not about me. Being judgmental is not about me. Most of the time it's because I'm jealous. And I see danger on the other side of that. Sometimes I do have to let everything go and not keep anything for myself. Like, Jericho, don't take any treasures, don't bring it home into my tent, into my house, don't bury it in the ground and not tell anyone about it. Because what happened to him? He died. And his family died. Ugh. It's because of the cesspool situation where if I have too much inflow, and not enough outflow, then it's stagnant. Now there are bags that fill up with liquid, and liquid can stay there, but every container I see, every open vessel that a living thing goes into, if it doesn't move out of there eventually, it dies. It does. Like, I've cleaned out containers full of beetles, dried out, and it was like an entire colony of beetles almost. I don't know where they came from, why there's so many, why they're all in the container. What I had to do was take them out of it and wash the container. You know, I don't really want to be the one thinking about everything. I don't. I want other people to think about it. But if I must, then so be it. By the way, I need to brush my teeth. It's disgusting anyway. Take care.